It's a little bit of greed gets in the way of good decision making because, oh my God, this is really easy and we could do this, and what if we grow and get a contract of that size, and how will we fill it? And really, it's kind of the story of the rise and fall of two young guys that were in over their heads and probably got a little bit greedy. When you start aiming at $300 million contracts, then you're actually messing with the big boys in a way, and they really stepped into it thinking, well, why not? It's just a bigger version of what we've been doing, which makes sense, except once they got the contract, which was insane in its own respect, once they got it, they realized they couldn't deliver on the prices they promised, and they couldn't even necessarily acquire all the munitions that they had promised. So they had to do things in a really roundabout way. David was the consummate right-hand man. He believed in Efraim, he trusted Efraim, he knew Efraim was a wild card, but he kind of started making so much money and they started becoming so successful that he didn't look the other way, but he just figured, okay, I could put up with this aspect of it as long as we keep this, on the right track. Henry is this guy that, we say in the movie, he's kind of been on both sides of every conflict. He's that guy. He doesn't really have a political standing. He just likes war. He likes when people fight because he arms this guy, he arms that guy, and go have at it. And then when they finally get to meet Henry, they meet him in Las Vegas at an arms convention. It's a big moment for Efraim to kind of sit across from his hero. They're not pro-war, and he really borrows that from Henry's stance. He doesn't really care about who's fighting and why they're fighting. He cares about how many people can we arm here, how much product can we move. So really, war is an economy, and war is an opportunity to them. And it's a true thing, as much as we all talk about soldiers and heroes, and that really is the most important aspect of the U.S. military. There is an underbelly to it where a lot of people make a lot of money. And these are two guys that tried to get in on that. I think Miles is a world-class actor, and he's really young, so it's weird to say that about a guy who's only done a few movies and he's 27 years old, but he's naturally gifted. It's almost as if he doesn't have to try. I've never really seen it before. I know a lot of actors who are amazing, and I see them work at it, and Miles doesn't really do the work, and it's not negative. It just kind of comes to him, and it's kind of amazing to watch, and we were lucky to have him in the movie. We really filmed the movie, as you guys know, all over the world. We were in Jordan, we were in Morocco, we were in Romania, Miami, Vegas, a little bit in LA. So this movie, I really wanted to have a big scope of guys who are international arms dealers. It's one of those stories, you're right, where I've had friends email me, even just based on seeing the trailer, nobody's seen the movie yet, and go, God, I looked up that story and I read all this stuff. That's crazy that that's a real thing. I think one of the things that really attracts people to it when we would test screen the movie, what did you like about the movie? I think the one of the main things was that it was based on a real story. I've always had a love, even in my own taste of movies, whether it's American Hustle, which is based on a real story. I love when you take sort of the seeds of the truth and the seeds of something real, and you kind of build on it. The movie always has a little bit more gravity to it, whether it's Wolf of Wall Street or, American Hustle, to name recent examples. But I always think those movies have a little bit more gravity to them. Yeah, they did mess up. That would be the best way to say it. They were misled by the Albanians, and then they had to think on their feet. And as opposed to normally you call up the Pentagon and say, look, we have a glitch here. There's an issue with these bullets that we thought were one thing, but they're another. But these guys didn't want to let go of that deal. And so they just said, well, how about we just repackage these bullets? We had an arms embargo against China, so we couldn't use any ammunition that was made in China at the time. These bullets turned out to be made in China, and our guys just said, well, what if we just take them out of the boxes and repackage them? No one will know.